Have you ever felt overlooked, as if the effort you put into your relationships goes unnoticed? Do you find yourself wondering why, despite your best intentions, others don't seem to appreciate your presence? What if I told you that there's a way to change this dynamic? Imagine becoming a person so grounded, so self-assured, that others naturally prioritize you, not out of obligation, but because they see your inherent value. This is not about manipulation or playing games. It's about embodying timeless wisdom, the kind that ancient Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus once taught. In this video, we'll explore 12 Stoic principles that will not only enrich your life but make you captivating in the eyes of others. These are not just abstract ideas, they are practical steps you can take today. By embracing these principles, you'll find yourself becoming more resilient, more attractive, and more respected in your relationships. Stay with us throughout this journey, and you'll learn how to transform not only your relationships, but your entire approach to life. Ready to dive in? Let's begin. 1. Embrace the art of mystery. Picture this. You meet someone new, and within minutes, they've shared their entire life story. While honesty is valuable, there's something to be said for mystery, for revealing yourself gradually, like a novel with chapters that unfold over time. Have you ever considered how keeping a little mystery might change how others perceive you? Seneca once said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This wisdom holds a simple truth. By being fully transparent all the time, you become predictable, and predictability can quickly lead to indifference. Instead, think of yourself as a book that others are eager to read, one chapter at a time. It's about creating curiosity, inviting others to invest in understanding the layers of your personality. In today's world, where social media encourages constant sharing, it's easy to forget the power of subtlety. But imagine if you shifted this perspective. What if you held back just a little, revealing your thoughts, your passions, your goals, one piece at a time? This isn't about manipulation, it's about creating space for genuine connection. Let others discover you gradually, allowing them to appreciate each layer of who you are. And yet, there's a balance to strike. Too much distance, and you become aloof. Too much availability, and you become mundane. By maintaining this balance, you make yourself both intriguing and approachable, allowing your relationships to deepen naturally over time. Reflect on this balance as you interact with others. Are you sharing too much too soon? Or are you leaving room for curiosity to grow? By mastering the art of mystery, you make each interaction more meaningful. Your presence becomes something people look forward to rather than take for granted. And as we move forward, we'll explore how this principle ties into another key aspect of Stoicism, mastering your emotions. 2. Master your emotions. Control, don't suppress. How often have you found yourself reacting in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? Do you ever wish you had the composure to pause and respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting impulsively? This is where Stoicism offers profound guidance, teaching us not to suppress our emotions, but to master them. Seneca wisely said, "The best way to deal with anger is to wait." It's a simple but powerful idea. When we face situations that provoke us, our instinct is to react immediately, to let our emotions take the lead. But Stoicism encourages us to create a gap between stimulus and response, to pause and consider. It's in this pause that true power lies. When we choose to reflect rather than react, we maintain control over our own minds. Imagine being in a difficult conversation with a friend or partner. Instead of allowing frustration to take over, what if you took a deep breath, waited, and then chose your words carefully? How might this change the dynamics of your relationships? Mastering your emotions doesn't mean ignoring them. It means understanding them, recognizing their sources, and deciding how to respond in a way that aligns with your values. Think of the last time you let anger or anxiety dictate your actions. What might have happened if you had paused for just a moment longer? The Stoic practice of self-dialogue can be a helpful tool here. Ask yourself, what is within my control in this situation? And how do I wish to be remembered after this moment passes? This practice doesn't just benefit your relationships with others, it strengthens your relationship with yourself. By becoming a person who is steady in the face of adversity, you cultivate a sense of self-respect and inner peace that others will naturally be drawn to. And as we master our emotions, we open the door to the next principle, being selective with our availability. 3. Be selective with your availability. Respect your time. Gain respect. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to command more respect and admiration simply by being a little less available? It's not about playing hard to get. It's about recognizing the value of your own time and respecting it enough not to give it away too easily. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to fall into the habit of always being accessible. But think about this. Does constantly dropping everything for others really lead to stronger connections? Or does it dilute the value of your presence? Stoicism teaches us that time is one of our most precious resources. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. If time is limited, shouldn't we be mindful of how we spend it? Being selectively available shows others that you have your own life, your own passions, and your own commitments. It subtly conveys that while you value their company, you don't need their presence to validate your own worth. This approach naturally piques the interest of others as they realize that time with you is a privilege, not a given. Consider the example of Ada Lovelace, the pioneering mathematician. Despite living in an era where women were expected to always be available for others, she carved out time for her passion, developing the first algorithms intended for machines. This selective focus not only made her a trailblazer, but also garnered the admiration of those around her, including Charles Babbage. Her story teaches us that by prioritizing our time, we can inspire others to respect it as well. So, as you navigate your relationships, ask yourself, are you too quick to drop everything for others? Are you making time for the pursuits that truly matter to you? By being more intentional with your availability, you become a person others are eager to spend time with. And as you reflect on this, consider how cultivating independence can further amplify this effect. Stick with us as we continue this exploration of Stoic wisdom. If you find these insights valuable, stay tuned for the next principle. It's one that can truly change the way you view yourself and your relationships. 4. Cultivate independence. Become whole on your own. What does it mean to truly be independent? In a world where we often seek validation and fulfillment from others, independence is not just about being alone, it's about being whole. Have you ever found yourself seeking approval, hoping that someone else's acknowledgement will make you feel complete? Stoicism challenges us to find that sense of wholeness within ourselves, without relying on external praise or recognition. Epictetus taught, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." This principle reminds us that our sense of self-worth should not be tied to how others perceive us. Instead, it should come from the knowledge that we are capable, resilient, and enough on our own. When we embrace this mindset, we become more confident, more self-assured, and paradoxically, more attractive to others. Think about a time when you felt completely at peace in your own company, when you didn't need anyone else to feel content. That's the essence of cultivating independence. It's about recognizing your own value, not as an extension of someone else's approval, but as a person with unique passions, talents, and dreams. Consider the story of Steve Wozniak, who co-founded Apple with Steve Jobs. Wozniak was not one to seek the spotlight. He found joy and fulfillment in his engineering work, independent of external recognition. His independence made him a crucial part of Apple's success, a partner who brought immense value without needing constant validation. It's this kind of independence that allows us to build meaningful connections, where we are valued for who we are, not just for how we make others feel. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that makes you proud, even when no one is watching? Are you cultivating a life that you would enjoy, even if no one else could see it? By embracing independence, you become a person who is sought after, rather than one who is always seeking. And this naturally leads us to the next principle: how to build relationships based on mutual respect. 5. Build relationships on mutual respect. Set clear boundaries. Do you find it difficult to establish boundaries in your relationships? Are you often unsure of where your own needs end and where the expectations of others begin? Setting boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to build relationships rooted in respect, a key tenet of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In relationships, this means recognizing that while you cannot control how others treat you, you can control what you accept. Boundaries are not walls. They are guides that show others how to treat you with the respect you deserve. Setting boundaries requires courage, because it often means risking disapproval. But consider this: would you rather be liked for the things you tolerate or respected for the standards you set? Stoicism teaches us to prioritize what is within our control: our values, our actions, and our self-respect. When you establish clear standards for how you wish to be treated, you give others the opportunity to meet you on those terms, creating a relationship built on equality rather than concession. Reflect on the story of Lucius Quinctius Cincinnatus, the Roman leader who was called upon to lead Rome during a time of crisis. Despite the power he held, Cincinnatus valued his principles over prestige. After his duty was complete, he willingly returned to his farm, showing that his sense of self wasn't tied to external power, but to his inner values. He set boundaries for what he would accept and what he would prioritize, embodying the Stoic ideal of living according to one's principles. As you think about your own relationships, ask yourself, where do I need to set clearer boundaries? What values am I willing to stand by, even if it means walking away? By doing so, you ensure that your relationships are not just enjoyable, but genuinely uplifting. If you found this principle enlightening, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's build a community where we support each other in living by these Stoic principles, creating a life that is both fulfilling and respected. 6. Let go of the need for validation. Find joy within. Why do we often find ourselves seeking approval from others? What would happen if we turned that energy inward, focusing on becoming our own source of joy and contentment? This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism, to find happiness within ourselves, rather than depending on external validation. Seneca captured this sentiment perfectly when he said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." In our pursuit of recognition, we often forget to appreciate the simple joys of the present moment. But imagine if you could shift your perspective, no longer striving for others' approval, but instead embracing the person you are right now. Think of Theodore Roosevelt, who faced personal tragedy when he lost his wife and mother on the same day. Instead of letting despair define him, he turned to his passions: boxing, public service, and exploration. Roosevelt didn't rely on external validation to find joy. He created it for himself. His story reminds us that we all have the capacity to generate our own happiness, no matter our circumstances. When you find joy within yourself, you become a beacon of positivity and strength. Others will be drawn to your energy, not because you need them, but because they see that you are complete on your own. This is the essence of true attractiveness, being whole and happy in your own right. So ask yourself, what would it look like to find joy in your own company? How can you cultivate a life that makes you feel fulfilled even when no one is watching? By letting go of the need for validation, you free yourself to truly enjoy the present, creating a sense of inner peace that others can't help but admire. 7. Allow others to invest in you. Build value through effort. Have you ever wondered why some relationships feel more meaningful than others? Why do some connections seem to deepen naturally while others remain shallow? The Stoic answer lies in the value of mutual investment. Are you allowing others the space and opportunity to truly invest in you, or are you giving everything away too freely? In the words of Seneca, to make a precious stone shine, you have to rub it, and to make a person better, they need to face difficulties. This principle speaks to the idea that true appreciation and connection come through effort. When others invest their time, energy, and emotions in getting to know you, their bond with you becomes deeper and more genuine. It's through this process that they recognize your unique value, not just as another presence in their life, but as someone indispensable. Think about how much more you appreciate something that you've worked hard to achieve, compared to something that came easily. It's the same with relationships. By allowing others to put in the effort, you enable them to value your presence more deeply. But this isn't about playing games or making things difficult. It's about recognizing your worth and giving others the opportunity to see it too. Reflect on the relationship between Alexander the Great and his mentor, Aristotle. Aristotle was not a mentor who made things easy for Alexander. He challenged him to think deeply and question the world around him. This rigorous intellectual engagement made Alexander cherish the wisdom he gained, and it was through this effort that their bond grew strong. Aristotle's value to Alexander was not just in the knowledge he imparted, but in the challenge and effort it took to attain it. Ask yourself, are you allowing others to put in the effort to truly know you? Are you giving them the space to recognize your worth, or are you doing all the work for them? By embracing this Stoic principle, you transform your relationships into deeper, more meaningful connections built on mutual effort and respect. 8. Prioritize your goals and aspirations. Focus on your own path. Have you ever found yourself putting your own dreams on hold for the sake of someone else? How often do you adjust your life to fit into someone else's vision, rather than pursuing what truly matters to you? Stoicism teaches us that our primary responsibility is to live according to our own values and aspirations, not to mold ourselves to fit the expectations of others. Imagine your life as a unique journey, one that no one else can walk for you. It's like Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What really bothers people are not the things that happen, but how they think about them." This perspective reminds us that it's not external events, but our own thoughts and decisions that shape our lives. When you make your goals and dreams a priority, you begin to live a life that is authentically yours, one that others find naturally intriguing. Think about a time when you felt truly in alignment with your passions. Maybe it was a moment when you were working on a project that filled you with purpose, or pursuing a hobby that brought you joy. How did it feel to be completely immersed in something that was purely your own? Now imagine if you lived your life with that same sense of commitment every day. What would change? Reflect on the example of Lucius Quinctius Cincinnatus, the Roman leader who chose to return to his farm life after fulfilling his duty as a dictator during a crisis. His story reminds us that our identity should not be tied solely to external roles or relationships. Instead, it should be grounded in our personal values and goals. By prioritizing his simple life and rejecting the allure of power, Cincinnatus embodied the Stoic ideal of living true to oneself. So, ask yourself, What goals have you put aside that deserve your attention again? How can you align your daily actions with the dreams that matter most to you? By focusing on your path, you not only live a more fulfilling life, but you also become someone that others naturally respect and admire. And as you walk this path, you'll find that others become more eager to join you, not because you seek their approval, but because they are inspired by your commitment. If you've found value in these principles so far, keep watching. The next one is crucial for finding true happiness and inner peace, the kind that radiates from within. 9. Seek joy within yourself. True happiness comes from within. What if you could be happy, regardless of what others think or how they treat you? Have you ever considered that the key to lasting contentment might lie within yourself, rather than in external approval or validation? Stoicism teaches us that true happiness is a state of mind, not something that others can give or take away from us. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This wisdom invites us to let go of our constant need for external validation and instead focus on the simple joys of the present moment. It's about finding fulfillment in who you are, not in how others see you. Imagine how freeing it would be to live without constantly seeking the approval of others, to find joy in the quiet moments, in the things that make you feel alive. Think of Theodore Roosevelt, who faced the unimaginable loss of both his mother and wife on the same day. Despite this profound sorrow, he chose not to let it define him. Instead, he immersed himself in his passions, boxing, exploration, and public service. Roosevelt found a way to cultivate his own happiness, even in the face of immense grief. His story is a powerful reminder that joy is something we can create for ourselves, even when life is difficult. What would it look like if you started to seek joy within yourself, rather than depending on others to bring it to you? How might this shift change the way you approach your relationships? By becoming your own source of happiness, you become less dependent on the whims and moods of others. You become more resilient, more stable, and more attractive to those around you, because you radiate a sense of peace that is not easily shaken. And this is the essence of Stoicism, finding the strength to remain content in all circumstances, to find satisfaction in our own company. As you practice this principle, you will notice that your interactions with others become lighter, more joyful, and less burdened by expectations. You'll find that you are drawn to those who complement your happiness, rather than those who are meant to complete it. 10. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. Focus on your inner strength. Do you ever feel overwhelmed by things beyond your control? What if you could let go of this burden and focus solely on what you can change? Stoicism teaches us a simple yet profound truth. While we cannot control external events, we always have power over our responses to them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle encourages us to shift our focus from the external world, things like other people's opinions, the past, or the future, and instead concentrate on our thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Imagine how much lighter you would feel if you could release your grip on the things you cannot change. Think about a recent event that upset you. Was it truly within your control, or did your reaction stem from a desire to change something that was already set in motion? By focusing on what lies within our control, we can find clarity and peace in even the most challenging situations. For example, you can't control how someone else feels about you, but you can control how you treat them and how you carry yourself with dignity. Consider the story of Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers. Despite the harsh circumstances of his early life, he learned to focus on his inner freedom, his thoughts and reactions, rather than on the external hardships he faced. This shift in perspective allowed him to find a sense of power and peace that external circumstances could never take away. So, ask yourself, what are the things in your life that you have been trying to control, even though they are outside your influence? What might happen if you focused instead on your own actions, on living in alignment with your values? By doing this, you become a person of inner strength, a person who is steady amidst life's turbulence. And as we move forward, this focus on the inner self leads us to the next principle, knowing when to let go. 11. Let go of the need for control. Embrace acceptance and peace. Do you find yourself constantly trying to control outcomes, even when you know deep down that they are beyond your reach? How often does this need for control lead to frustration or anxiety? Stoicism teaches that peace comes from embracing acceptance, understanding the limits of our influence, and letting go of the rest. Seneca wisely noted, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How often do we torment ourselves with thoughts of what could go wrong, of the many ways we might lose control? But what if, instead of dwelling on these thoughts, we accepted that life is full of uncertainties and focused on what we could control, our responses, our actions, and our attitudes? Consider the example of a ship at sea. A captain cannot control the weather or the waves, but they can navigate their vessel with skill and precision. Similarly, you cannot control the storms of life, but you can decide how you will steer through them. When you let go of the illusion of control, you free yourself from the chains of anxiety and become better equipped to face whatever comes your way with resilience and calm. Reflect on the story of Cincinnatus, the Roman leader who willingly relinquished his power when his duty was done. He understood that true strength lies not in holding on, but in knowing when to let go. His willingness to return to his simple life after leading Rome through crisis illustrates the power of accepting what we cannot change and focusing instead on living virtuously. Ask yourself, what outcomes are you trying to force? What might change if you allowed yourself to accept the uncertainties of life with grace? By practicing acceptance, you cultivate a state of inner tranquility that cannot be disturbed by external chaos. This acceptance is not about giving up, it's about choosing where to place your energy. And as we accept what we cannot change, we move towards the final principle, living a life of purpose. 12. Live a life of purpose. Align your actions with your values. What drives you? Have you ever taken the time to truly consider what gives your life meaning? Stoicism teaches that a fulfilling life is one lived with purpose, a life where each action is aligned with your deepest values. But how often do we let distractions pull us away from our true goals? Imagine waking up each day with a clear sense of direction, knowing that what you do matters, that it aligns with who you are at your core. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, what we do now echoes in eternity. This insight reminds us that our daily actions, however small, contribute to the larger story of our lives. When we focus on living according to our values, we create a life that is not only meaningful to ourselves, but inspiring to others. Consider the story of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak during the early days of Apple. Wozniak, a brilliant engineer, found deep purpose in his work, independent of the external recognition that would come later. His focus on creating something valuable allowed him to remain true to his passion, contributing immensely to Apple's success. This alignment with his purpose made him a respected figure, not just for his skills, but for his unwavering dedication to his values. So, what are the values that guide your life? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Take a moment to reflect. Are your daily actions moving you closer to your goals, or are they distractions pulling you away? By aligning your actions with your core values, you ensure that your life is not just lived, but lived well. every moment contributing to a larger purpose. As you embrace this final principle, remember that living with purpose is not about perfection. It's about making small, consistent choices that reflect the person you wish to become. And when you live in this way, others will naturally see your strength, your integrity, and your unwavering commitment to what truly matters. We've journeyed through 12 powerful Stoic principles that can transform not only how you see yourself, but how others see you. These teachings from the Stoics are not about playing games or using tactics to manipulate relationships. They are about becoming a person of true value, a person who lives with intention, who respects their own time and values, and who finds strength within themselves. By embracing these principles, mastering your emotions, valuing your time, allowing others to invest in you, and living with purpose, you become someone others naturally admire and prioritize. But remember, the most important part of this journey is how you choose to apply these teachings in your life. Take time to reflect on each principle and how it might change the way you navigate your relationships and your own inner world. If this video has given you a new perspective on life, let us know in the comments. Share which Stoic principle resonates with you the most and how you plan to apply it in your own journey. Let's support each other in becoming the best versions of ourselves through the wisdom of Stoicism. And before you go, if you found value in this journey of self-discovery and growth, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with those who might need a little Stoic wisdom in their lives. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and may you find strength and peace in every moment. Until next time, stay strong and stay true to yourself.